What is up, everybody? Welcome back to High School Never Ends, a pop punk dad podcast. I am Wingman Steve.
And I'm Chris 183.
And it's a new month. It's been a long time, Chris, since we've discussed Newfound Glory at length. You know, it's been almost 250 episodes. Like, our first, long-form discussion on NFG was our third episode ever. But now we are going to take our time and we're going to spend all of the month of November, because it is Newfound November. We are going to dive in deep, album by album by album by album. Maybe to Chris's delight, maybe to his chagrin. Only time will tell. Welcome to Newfound November. And the first episode, we're gonna start where it started. We're going to start at Nothing Gold Can Stay. Chris, we have a guest here.
We do have a guest. Hey, how many days was that again?
How many days of what?
Between last time we talked about this band and today?
It was about 250 episodes. So assuming we do one a week, that's 250 weeks, which would be, let's see, 4 years.
Man, that was a great 4 years. I'll tell you that much. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite years of all time.
Were they? Well,
yeah.
They're over. It is Newfound November.
Mm-hmm. I guess nothing gold can stay. You know what they say.
Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do have a guest. So, look, I mean, I know there's a lot of individuals out there that for some reason or another, I don't know why, love this band so much. And we went out and we found somebody that was pretty much a no-brainer. Maybe you guys don't know that, but I think by the time we end this episode today, you'll have figured it out. Ladies and gentlemen, we brought back Sam to the show. Sam, welcome back to High School Never Ends.
Thank you so much. So good to be here. Very excited to be back, especially to talk about Newfound Glory, Chris.
Yeah, look, I mean, last time you were here, we talked about Bayside, and that was a great episode. And I know that in talking with you, not since then, but before then, since then, that time, that you have been very vocal about being a huge fan of this band, so it only seemed appropriate to bring you back on to kick things off. Here in Newfound November, was I correct? Do you like Newfound Glory?
You are correct. Well, you're somewhat correct. I don't like them. I love them. I know I was on here for the Bayside episode, but Newfound Glory is truly my number one favorite band. Wow. Of all time.
Number one of all time. So there's different Newfound Glory fandoms, right? So I'm more of an earlier-ish in the catalog type fan. Chris, I'm going back to episode 3. He liked a few things, but they were towards the middle end. Did you go the whole way through?
You talking to me?
No, I was talking to Sam.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking to Chris. Yeah, I go through it all, man. I mean, the fandom for me is to the level that I've got the blinders on. They can do no wrong by me. Pretty much anything that'll come out from Newfound Glory, I'll be attached to for sure. Been following them from the very beginning and have no plans to stop.
Well, let's start there. What got you into Newfound Glory?
So, first introduction to Newfound Glory was my 8th grade year of high school, or of middle school, excuse me. On my way out, I had a bunch of skater friends that I used to hang out with on the regular. Napster was the thing back then. They would download and pass around all kinds of burned CDs. And one of the Newfound Glory tracks happened to make it on a CD that I was skating to for a while. And it actually happens to be a track on this record, which I'll talk a little bit about once we get there.
Okay.
But that was it. That was what got me into it back in 99, 2000, right around there.
And Sam, you're originally from Bayside, California, correct?
I'm originally from California, not from Bayside. Nice try, though.
And so you got into something right away. So you got into NFG real early. Real early.
This album early.
I'm kind of jealous. I found out a little bit later. The first time I saw Newfound Glory, or really heard Newfound Glory, was in 2000. It was about a year after this came out, and I went to see this band headline called Phoenix TX, and the openers were Lefty, Good Charlotte, right, a few days before their first album came out, and Newfound Glory, who I didn't know, But Newfound Glory had built up kind of a base of fans, and I saw them live and got into it. And then I went and bought the self-titled record because that was, I think, the most recent one at that point. That was 2000. I think that tracks, yeah. And then after I fell in love with that one, I went back and got Nothing Gold Can Stay. So it's a very, very, Enema of the State Dude Ranch type thing for me. Same ways.
Yeah, for me, there was something to be said about being a fan of a group that was not local to California at the time, back in my little inner circle of friends. So you were the cool kid on the block if you were listening to somebody from way across the other side of the country. So being a fan of Newfound Glory definitely got me some points in the crowd. But like I said, just all it took was that first introduction, and I was hooked. My first Newfound Glory show, was 2001. And it was probably the most interesting kind of setup because it was actually at a racetrack. It was Santa Anita Racetrack in California. Never forget, because the lineup was Phoenix TX, which you just mentioned, Save Ferris, and Newfound Glory. And the weird thing about it was the setup was their stage was in the middle of the racetrack. So they had to stop even mid-song at times for the horse races themselves because it would distract the horses. So it was like the weirdest concert setup ever. I remember it was sponsored by K-Rock, the local radio station out there. But first time seeing them, interesting setup, but it was a solid show.
Yeah, those 2 years, first 2 years, I've seen these guys like 14 times live, and I saw them 2000, 2001 a few times. And the first time in 2001, it was with Movie Life, Autopilot Off, who used to be called Cooter, and Newfound Glory was the headliner. And then the second time, in the summer of 2001, they opened for Blink on a bigger tour. So that is kind of where I guess they probably blew up more than before, which is kind of cool because I saw Phoenix TX open up for Blink one time a few years before that. It all comes full circle. And Chris saw Newfound Glory like 75 times, I think, total.
No, but I want to see, I want to know, like, did the horses go berserk? Like, did they start stampeding everywhere at some point in time?
No, they had to stop them. I'm telling you, it was the weirdest thing. They'd be like right smack in the middle of a song, and somebody would run on stage and just wave at the band and be like, stop, the horse race is about to start. They tried their best to time it, but between banter and whatever going on between tracks, it just didn't really work well. So they would just have to cut off all noise. They even encouraged the crowd to kind of keep it down. It was such a weird setting, but such a memorable concert.
No, I've never seen this band live, never. And I mean, hey, let's just kind of sit here and think about reality for a second. And you're not always going to catch every band. You're not always going to be a fan of everything. And I think that for a long time, I just wasn't into Newfound Glory, and neither were I don't want to say any people, because I'm sure there were a couple, but for the most part, in my inner circle of people that I would hang out with, this wasn't the prevalent band. It was always more Blink-182 and less Newfound Glory. So I really didn't pay any attention. I didn't. So I think that's probably why that I didn't get an early view like you guys did of this band.
So I'm curious how you're coming into this month. I did Weezer. Weezer was not my, all-time favorite, but I kind of came in, giving it a shot. Like, how do you feel having said some things about not super liking this band all that much? Do you have an open mind? Are you coming in this with hatred? Are you coming in it with an open heart? Are you looking to learn and grow?
I love how you did that. You kind of just you set it up with, I did Weezer. Like I owe you something.
No, there's no owing. I'm just making a comparison. Mm-hmm. It's not quid pro quo.
I am probably like one of the nicest guys in the whole world to not only do this, because we did not do a Weezer this year. We completely skipped that. Okay, so that made me sad.
I mean, how many Weezer are we going to do? We're only going to do one Newfound November too.
On top of it, we are doing this. So I'm very nice. I'm a very good co-host, and you should remember that.
I always do. Didn't we just get off a month, like 5 weeks of doing your favorite alternative rock albums?
Our favorite. We had a blast doing it, ladies and gentlemen. It was a blast, and Steve had fun too.
But you didn't answer the question. You're sidestepping.
Look, I mean, I think I'm a professional, right? We do this at a professional level, and I'm a professional, and I came into it with a halfway open, kind of closed mind of how I was going to attack this. I can't tell you that I'm not going to come into this just completely bashing these songs because it's fun to do that. I'm not. I'm not going to do it, but will my opinion change? I guess we'll find out, ladies and gentlemen, because I did sit here and listen to this album on many, 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 many different occasions leading up to today.
That's awesome. I'm curious to see if you have a hard time being persuaded. But Sam, let me throw something at you. I pulled a quote from our first episode. Chris had said famously, it goes down in high school never ends lore that New Found Glory is the junk food of pop punk. How would you respond to that?
I love junk food. Who doesn't love junk food? That's a compliment, if you ask me. I'm wondering, what are the chances that you come out of this month a Newfound Glory fan, Chris?
Very slim. Very slim.
I know what your favorite album is. I'm curious to see if you'll maybe have a second or a third teed up once the month ends.
Well, we'll have to rank them some way, shape, or form. But we're starting at the beginning. We're starting with Nothing Gold Can Stay. So they did have an EP before this, but Nothing Gold Can Stay is their first studio album that they self-produced. It did come out on Eulogy Records before they signed over to Drive Thru. It came out May 1st, 1999. It sold over 300,000 copies, so it did pretty well. This is the front of this record. The name of the band is A Newfound Glory, which they dropped the A after this, or it might have been after from Screening or Stereo, but apparently people were having a hard time finding their records in the record store because they didn't know if they were looking in A or N, so they just said, fuck it, we're just going to be Newfound Glory. After this, Richard Reynes signed them to Drive Thru. They paid a $5,000 licensing fee to re-release this album on October 19th of 1999. So you could have gotten it from Eulogy, you could have gotten it from Drive Thru, and this is really the first mass Newfound Glory record. So that's all the background and stats that I have. Unless Sam, you have anything else?
Well, let me throw something in there real quick. So, do you think that this album is this more of a is this more punk than it is pop punk?
Sam, I'll let you answer.
I would say it's pop punk. I would say it's very early pop punk in terms of really helping kind of shape a lot of the stuff that you see coming out beyond some of these releases. I would definitely consider this to be a pop punk album.
The only reason I say that is because I find that a lot of these songs are very just not even's not the word. It's just like the lyrical delivery is so flat to me, and like there's not much deviation in the way they sing. It's kind of like that punk, just that straightforward lyrical, like just no, like just nothing crazy, nothing that interesting in terms of how the melody's built. There's a lot of that on here, and they do mix in some somewhat catchier, somewhat melodic tunes here and there, but for the most part, I feel it's on the other side of things. I don't know. That's just the way I listen to it. So,
well, one, I'm offended, and two, I think that has a lot more to do with the quality of the recording of that album, and just them being 16, 17 years old right around that time. To the point of some of the background to this album, I think I had read somewhere that total it was like $1,000 or just a couple of $1,000 total invested to produce this entire album. So you definitely catch a lot of that raw kind of that gritty sound throughout the whole recording process. It's not the best quality, but that to me is kind of that anchor to the nostalgia from that time. It's important to me for sure.
Fully agree. Mm-hmm. I always think about Dude Ranch and Nothing Gold Can Stay because Dude Ranch sounds shitty compared to Enemy of the State, and Nothing Gold Can Stay sounds shitty compared to the self-titled and everything afterwards, but doesn't take away from what the quality of the music is. I think there is some good musicianship here in this record. But it was, that was the times. I had something else I was going to say, but I
What?
lost it.
While you're thinking that too, one of the things that's kind of interesting about Newfound Glory is if you look at like their early touring history, South Florida, there's not a lot of bands out there that are in that type of genre. So you kind of just tour with whoever will take you. So you can, for me, a lot of the variances in the songs, you can almost feel like they're trying to define what that sound really is for the band, while still kind of picking up on some of the like the hardcore influences that they have. Like the little sprinkles of gang vocals here and there that kind of layer in with some of the heavier guitar riffs. And I think that all really stems from their guitar player, Chad Gilbert, who had history with some of the hardcore bands in that scene prior to Newfound Glory. But yeah, I think it's a solid album overall, and I'm sure we're going to break it all apart. So I'll save
That's
some
what
of
I was.
that for.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say, answering Chris's question, I feel like it is a pop punk album mixed with a bit of hardcore because of Chad's roots in hardcore, and that comes out in a handful of songs. But you do see when we kick it off, hit or miss. There are certain songs that are super pop punky, but I think overall it's a pop punk record
For sure.
Yeah.
A great one.
A great one. A lot of songs about girls. You guys want to get into it?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll do it.
All right. So this is very interesting because the song Hit or Miss kicks off this record, and it's a song that most people know, but not really from this record. They probably know because they re-recorded it, and it was on their self-titled record. And actually, Chris, we did have one album spotlight on that record. So we did talk some Newfound Glory, but it wasn't super long form, just one episode. And I think that from the get-go, right away, from the first guitar strum, you can tell that this is one of those raw sounding albums like a Dude Ranch. You can tell that the recording quality is different than something that's like highly produced or even, I don't know, more professionally done. Hard to kind of compare the two hit or misses, right? Other than the recording quality, there's not too much difference in the two versions, save for one part, which is actually like my favorite part. The harmonies at the end are just super weak in this version. I've had so many chances, turn my back and I ran away. They're just way too low, and it's one of my favorite parts of that song at the end. So, that, again, in comparison. But as a standalone, if this is the first album that you hear, I mean, is there a better pre-chorus into a chorus? Remember the time we wrote our names upon the wall? Remember the time we realized Thriller was our favorite song? This is a great place for this song on this album. At number 1, it works perfect here because it gives you the introduction to Newfound Glory. It works better at number 4 on the next album because you've already heard some Newfound Glory and they're giving you that kind of perfected anthem. And one thing upon these listen throughs these past few times that I've realized is that the drums, while not mixed super great, Cyrus's drums are super strong. They're really good on this record. And I feel like listening to it and just having it stand out of my mind has kind of made me appreciate him as a drummer. And okay, I'll be quiet now. Chris?
I'll let Sam go since he wants to.
I agree with so much that maybe I should follow him because he's going to say all the positive things about the songs. So I agree on a lot of levels with that. I actually, in listening to this kind of in anticipation for today, I listened to both versions of the recording. And I find myself still gravitating towards the original, which is the one on this album, just because, again, I think it's so heavily rooted in kind of that nostalgia factor for me. This one starts off with an acoustic guitar versus the electric guitars in the heavily produced version that made it on self-titled. There's some variances in kind of how the vocals transition into the chorus. Again, I think it leans a little bit more on kind of what you're talking about with some of the weaker vocals on this version rather than the produced one, fully produced one. Another interesting thing about this song is you mentioned how it's the opener on this album, and yet it was moved to the number 4 spot, that single spot on the self-titled album, which to me in my head reminds me of just like those. Yeah, like I almost associate that with like a record label coming in and being like, this is the sound. This is the song out of everything on that album we've heard that really can define what Newfound Glory will be. And I think that's kind of what they built off of. Not only has this song been super successful, it's a staple in their set list, pretty much guaranteed to hear it every single time. I just got to hear it live on the 10th or 11th of October when I caught them here in Dallas. And it still sounds great. Super simple song, but very catchy. Great opener to this album.
And they have great track ones. Think about what's next. Understatement. I can't
Oh
think of all.
yeah.
I mean, they
What,
have great track one, so this was a good spot
what
for
a
this
great
record.
what a great point. It's so true. Solid track ones.
Okay, are you guys done?
Go ahead, Christopher.
It's ironic they call this hit or miss because that's the way that I see Newfound Glory songs is hit or miss, potentially mostly the latter. And look, I'm not coming. I'm not gonna be like all shtick. This is not just like playing it up, guys. Like this is my real opinion. I do feel like this is one of the more passable tracks. You guys are right. It's melodic. It has some cool stuff in it. I'm not gonna turn my back to that at all. I do think this has less oomph than the redo of the song, like you talked about, the heavier produced one. I kind of like that one just a little bit better, even though, there's something to be said about the rawness. Like, for Dude Ranch, there's a lot of stuff on there that I like better than what's on Enema, just because I like the raw nature of it. But for this one, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's as good that way. It kind of sounds like they recorded this live in the back of a Hot Topic, and
They're just
I don't
raw
know.
dogging it.
Mm-hmm. So, all in all, it's just a fairly catchy opener. That's fine. I do like the guitar and the reverb and distortion behind I guess the breakdown. I don't know. It's later in the song. I thought I had the time stamp written down, but I like what they do there. If you know what I'm talking about, it's in the last third of the song. They start singing over this like crazy guitar with like a bunch of distortion to it. It's really cool. It's different than the rest of the song. So I'm into that. And then there's a little bit of a tempo change there too. When he starts getting into How Many Times I Tried, that was towards the end too. It kind of changes. So yeah, some cool stuff here. Definitely some differences. I did not hate this one.
Fantastic. It's a hit. It's a hit, ladies and gentlemen.
It is a hit. I mean, lyrically, I think it was said already. There's a ton of love songs on this album, but you got to throw some respect to the Thriller reference in this one. And it's very repetitive lyrics, but super catchy.
And the
so
thing
definitely
is,
a hit.
So Jordan's vocals are very whiny. Like I've heard him make the joke that he sounds like he gets kicked in the nuts before going on stage just so that he can prepare. So that's the thing. If you don't like that high-pitched whine and you can't get over it, Chris, I'm not saying that's your thing, but I understand certain, like my wife doesn't like Newfound Glory because she can't get past the vocals. If you can deal with the vocals, which I can, then I think it's easy to love.
Because it doesn't sound like he's singing. It sounds like he's making that voice. Like he's making a voice. Like if I would talk like Kermit the Frog, like I don't talk like this, but it's the same thing.
No, maybe if you saw them live and you realize like he's just singing. He doesn't sound like that when he talks, but that's just how he sings.
I'm not saying that's reality. It's just, to me, that's what it sounds like he's doing. Like it sounds like he's making a voice and singing with that voice versus just singing. Go ahead, Sam.
I was just going to say, funny you mentioned that because, like I mentioned, going to the Newfound Glory show earlier this month, and we went with some friends that are not fans of this style of music whatsoever. And I was just so excited about catching the show myself that I didn't even consider what their take would be on seeing them live. And their exposure to live music is really around like heavily produced stuff, big name artists, big stage venues. Like 5 minutes into the show, I look over at the friends and they're just like, what the hell is this? This guy is just whining into the microphone and I don't understand half of what he's saying. I was like, man, you're missing out. It's
and then
great.
They played Let It Go and, a bunch of other cover songs. And they're like, okay, I can get into this.
Yep. I definitely feel like they turned a little bit over by the time that show was over. I think they found some respect for it.
Good. All right, who wants to kick off Never Snows in Florida?
Let's go in like a round order. So Sam would be next in this one.
All right. So following such a strong track one, first of all, I love the title of this song. If you read through the lyrics, I feel like, I don't know whether it was intentional or not, but it really kind of blends into a theme for me of just kind of hoping for the impossible to happen. Hence It Never Snows in Florida. Interesting fact about that too is that pretty soon here in December they have a show in South Florida with the same title, where they're kind of going back to their roots and having a lineup mix of a bunch of different bands and genres that you wouldn't typically expect. So I thought that was kind of cool to mention. Um, Overall, for the song, again, lyrically, I felt like just kind of the overwhelming theme for this is that the lyrics tend to be pretty repetitive, but I do love the chorus really kicking off with that "I've been between myself for days." And then just kind of overall heavy riffs, super gritty guitar kind of throughout the entire song that I really liked. And something that I wrote down in kind of prepping for this was, and back to the hit or miss kind of dual production. There are a couple of songs sprinkled throughout this album that I really feel like, man, if you re-recorded this song, I think it could really stand out as a much bigger song on the album. And this happens to be one of them. I think a lot of the production quality really stood out to me as not really helping this song stand out as much as it could, but still a solid track.
All right. So I guess that's me next. So I'm not a fan of this slow pop. We'll call it a plodding melody. I'm gonna use my words. I think the chorus is kind of boring. I think that the between myself repetitiveness of it just did not hook me too much. And I'll tell you what, the only positive that I can really throw in there is I kind of like how the beginning of the song starts with the line and then the long hold on the note at the end of each of those lines. I don't think that lasts for more than probably 2 or 3 lines here, but I was into that somewhat. But for the most part, this song kind of droned on, and definitely, again, not my type of melody at all, if there even was one. So that's kind of where I'll sit on that one.
Definitely a melody. Definitely a melody. I have a lot of history with this song. So, like, when I was in college, I had probably several, 2 or 3, like, long distance relationships. And this is what I always thought that, you know, the first line, the first 2 lines, distance means nothing to me. It only makes me want to see you longer, is really indicative of those long distance relationships. And this song has definitely been burned onto several like miss you, long distance girlfriend kind of mix CDs. I honestly, I don't understand how this doesn't get to be a staple in their set. They never fucking play it. The only time I've seen them play it is they were doing this one tour where every night they did 2 full albums back to back and in their entirety. And they weren't in their, they were in their entirety, but they weren't in order. But you didn't know that. They just said, all right, this date, this venue, you're going to see Sticks and Stones and Catalyst. This venue, you're going to see Self-Titled. And I had to make a conscious decision. Did I want to see, I think it was Nothing Gold Can Stay and Sticks and Stones, or Self-Titled and Catalyst, because there were 2 shows within driving distance. And I picked this one because I just have never seen them play it live. And they played it. It was either like the end of the set, right before I don't know, it was somewhere like towards the end, and the crowd just like fucking exploded for it. So I don't know. This is one of those like kind of staple songs to me. The construction of the song, I'll give you, it's very, very simple. It's like verse, chorus, there's like a post chorus and a bridge, and then it's repeated. Verse, chorus, post chorus, and the bridge. The lead guitar from the very beginning is great and just drives throughout that song. And overall, they're giving you a little bit of different tempos. Chris likes the long, drawn out longers and strongers. I think this song is like a home run. And for me listening to this record, like number 1 into number 2 is very, very, very strong. And then we get to Third and Long.
That's strong. Yeah, that is a strong opinion there, buddy.
That rhymed. I have a strong opinion on It Never Snows in Florida. I think I think they should, and I would love to hear like a re-record. I think the whole album could potentially do a re-record, but they've got so many albums. Like, Chad's got his problems, his health issues. Like, I don't know if they're going back in the studio to re-record this, as if like, did that many people care? I don't know.
As a longtime fan, that's one of the things I kind of love about current day New Found Glory is they're at a place where they can kind of just do whatever they want. It doesn't really seem like blowing up and being the biggest band in the world is really on the agenda anymore. But that results in some great cover albums. I think they're really making a name for themselves in the category of cover albums. And yeah, why not throw in a re-recording or 2 of some of these older tracks, maybe the entire album? I think it'd be great.
In the category of Disney songs, you mean?
They did a Disney song, and I think if I'm not mistaken, I'm looking it up. I think that there was a version
Part of your
this.
world.
Yeah, so there was a version of this called the holiday version on their December's Here holiday album as well.
Yep, very solid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's definitely not a part of my world. And just for the record, I did not say it didn't have a melody. I said that it didn't have a good melody, is what I said.
Oh, okay. So it has a melody, just a bad one.
Yeah, every song has a melody of some kind, right?
Okay, sure.
Okay, that's me. All right, third and long. It's interesting because it's football season, so that there it is. These guys must be football fans, right? They like football.
I think it's more of a reference, to the girl, third and long is obviously a sports reference, but kind of taking it to, the relationship.
When's the third and long in the relationship?
When something is going wrong and you got to do something big to make it happen.
Wouldn't that be fourth down where you punt?
That's a different.
You just punt on it and you just go to the next. I mean, it depends on what we're talking about.
Well, maybe after third and long, potentially you do punt or you convert.
Doesn't this song kind of sound like it starts? Isn't this? Do you hear a Blink song in this? I know I do. I hear a Blink song, and I want to say it's definitely something off of Dude Ranch. And I thought that maybe you would know what I'm talking about, Steve, but maybe you don't.
Not like in particular. I mean, there's fast rolling drums again with poor production, so I could see where that would fit. But I couldn't tell you that I could pull one specifically out.
We'll just say Dumpweed. I don't know. I'll just say I don't know. I have to go back and listen to it. I just didn't have time to listen to Dude Ranch while I was listening to this, but I'm going to go back and listen to it and see what it sounds like because I know it does. And I think, see now this song has some interesting things. Okay, so it's not all bad, right? It's the part that grabs me is probably the chorus. Like I really like the chorus in this song. And maybe I don't know. I just like the chorus so much. Maybe I don't even care about the verse so much, but I think the chorus itself melodically shows me some interest, in terms of like just the way it sounds. And let's see, the only other note here doesn't make sense. I have high pitched monotone. I don't know. Maybe that's how I felt like his delivery was during the verses. But I don't know. I thought this song was okay. I think the chorus saves it to a certain degree. The verse is just blah, and it's passable. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Sam.
So first of all, Steve does a really good job of breaking down the structure of these songs. My notes typically center around just kind of some random thoughts that come to mind when I listen to these songs. This song is definitely a set list staple for sure. It's been on there for a long time. Pretty much guaranteed to hear it for the most part, unless they're doing something album specific live. And the visual in my brain always goes to one of the other things that I think I haven't really mentioned so far is their live performance, and just the energy that they bring to their live performance is insane, even at their current age. But I have very fond memories of Jordan just absolutely going nuts to this song, even off tempo most of the time, but it spawned memories for sure. In terms of the song itself, I love it. It's a great song. I've really learned to appreciate to get kind of past some of the poor production quality of the album. I typically tend to listen in and kind of try and pinpoint where I find some influences from maybe some of the other groups and things that they were around at that time. You have a little bit of a little bass solo here, and which is great to hear considering that Ian, their bass player, wasn't necessarily the greatest bass player ever, but sampling some of that on this song. Have a little taste of some minor gang vocals scattered throughout. And something that I really kind of appreciate just in general throughout this album, but something that I think really stood out to me here is that there's so many different tempo changes throughout the album. This is one of those where I kind of really appreciated the fluctuation throughout the song.
Yeah, I hadn't really remembered they played it. I've seen them so many times that I can't recall exactly like what they've played each time. I mean, I have a general idea, but I didn't think that they still played this because I didn't know that they played these older tracks. But I mean, in a live setting, this is a circle pit song. I mean, this is a song like get the fuck up, get moving. You know, this fast, like harder song. The vocals I find a little on the whinier side with the vocals on this particular track. But yeah, all the time changes. The music like comes to a very stop for the bridge. Time grabs me. And it keeps like starting and stopping. And then, you know, there's this shout verse where, you know, my name is a disappointment. And then there's the hey. I don't know if that was what you were talking about the gang vocals, but that's like a crowd reaction moment, that hey. And then yeah, Ian gets his he gets a bass solo, little, and this song kicks ass. It's you know, it's one of those closer to a hardcore songs for me. But very good. I don't know if it deserves number 3 on the album, maybe some retracking if I was the producer, but that's okay.
Yeah, and I read my note wrong. What I meant was I thought it had something about how it grabbed me, but no, it was that time grabs me part. That's what I really liked, is the time grabs me. Like, I like how they did that. They just, you know, it was like on and off. Like they did it in chunks. I like that a lot. So.
And a lot of time the song constructions are difficult to understand because sometimes they don't follow a real structure. A few of these you don't even know what the hell you called something the chorus that I didn't think was the chorus at one of the other songs, but a lot of these are written from the perspective of kids that don't really know how to write songs, like that first Punchline album. Like they've you know admitted that they didn't really know exactly how to construct a song. So some of it will follow that, you know, verse, chorus, bridge, whatever, repeat. Some of it is just fucking hectic nonsense.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that.
Well, Chris, you have to like this song because it's about you and I.
It is, and why don't you kick this one off?
You've Got a Friend in Pennsylvania. Yeah, this one, I love this song. This has got a little, I don't know if I'd call it like a ballad. It's got like a more slower kind of like ballady feeling to it, but it definitely does pick up. The line, love is another word for regret, that might have made its way into my AOL Instant Messenger away message if I was, you know, sad and dumped or something at some point. I think that's a great line. The chuggy guitars here with the snare hits, again, they don't get a ton of credit like as being like good musicians, but I think this song is really pretty great. When I was listening to it, listening to the guitars, listening to the drums, there's this booming bridge to like scream along to, and I walk around. It's just like belt it out, sing along with it. And then the same thing, it ends with this booming, you know, way real high pitched, wait for me, like too high pitched, but still super enjoyable. And then there's the woo to end it all out. And that's, I don't think you can go wrong with one of those.
Go ahead, Sam.
No such thing as a bad woo. Some of the things I wrote down here. I hope I have a friend in Pennsylvania. That's what I wrote down on my notes. But
yeah, buddy, I got you.
Okay, thank you. Pretty good. Look, this is a good song overall. I think it's probably one of the easier songs to kind of skip past on the album. Something I noticed that just kind of stood out to me relative to some of the other tracks is it's a little bit of a slower overall tempo in comparison to some of the tracks that come before it. I also noticed there's not as much fluctuation in kind of that tempo or the vocal ranges, really, at least not as much as some of the others. Again, this is one where I just feel like the production quality really didn't do it too much justice throughout a couple of these tracks on this album. And again, they have their place in kind of the nostalgia factor for me. I don't hate that they're there, but I can understand that for some people, you can almost catch some of the vocal like slip ups and kind of cracks in Jordan's voice. And I wrote down a note about that, kind of catching that a couple of times throughout this song too, which imperfect, but also what kind of makes the album so solid.
Cool. I have to say something too.
That's usually unless you want to skip. Do you want to pass? Is that where you're?
I've never passed ever. You know, I thought this sounded like, I said, okay, here we go again. I think this sounds like an Atari song. And I don't know which
you're saying
one.
All these songs sound like bands that you like, which means you have to like them.
But I mean, it sounds like a specific Atari song, and I don't know which one, but I have to go back and listen to the Ataris again to tell you. It just sounds so similar to one of them. I know you know what I'm talking about.
I mean, I know all the Atari songs.
Oh my god, it's not Sandy. I don't know. I can't remember. I have to go back and listen to every single freaking Atari song to know what I'm talking about here, and I'll text you and I'll
It's
tell
definitely
you.
not San Dimas.
Yeah.
Could be.
But
Sandy.
yes, do that, please. Let me know. I'll listen to them back to back.
Okay, so this one I like the verse a lot. I like that. I like the tempo. I think you guys said something about how he delivers the lyrics. I don't know, but the verse here sounds good to me, but I do not like this chorus. I think the chorus goes completely flat and is very not listenable in my opinion. That said, even though that's the only thing that I really will trash on this, I actually was not totally out of this one. I was into it a little bit more than I was out of it. The simplicity of the chords, a little bit of the slow pace to it, in and out. I kind of dug that. There was a guitar part, maybe around 310, 313-ish, that I thought rocked pretty hard. So I like that. And it had some nice harmonies. So trying to be positive here, trying to pick out a couple things that sounded good to my ear. But man, that chorus, if they just could fix that chorus, this song would be so much better.
You'd like it more if it was You've Got a Friend in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Then this would be like your favorite song of all time.
I mean, if it was the same song, then I don't see why. What does he care about Pennsylvania? Like, what's the deal? Like, what's that about?
I don't know. They're road warriors. Maybe they've got a friend in Pennsylvania.
Probably.
That seems like a bumper sticker or something that
there is an
might have taken
Atari's
that
lyric
from.
says there's nothing like playing a Saturday night in a basement show in Pennsylvania. That's an Atari song.
I don't
Teenage
think
Riot.
so. When I think of Pennsylvania, though, I think of the western side of Pennsylvania. I don't think of the eastern side.
He doesn't
Do you
specify in that song.
Do you think that, I guarantee you he's talking about Philadelphia? Guarantee you.
Seems like some inadequacies that Pittsburghians might have that they don't think they're being talked about enough.
Can we find out somehow, like what he's referencing? I mean, he's definitely not talking about Central PA, is he? He could be.
He could be talking about like Allentown. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing.
Lancaster.
I think they say Lancaster.
I was there. I know what it's all about. But okay, we can move on. That was You Got a Friend in PA. Sam, it's your turn to start. And what are we on? The Blue Stare?
The Blue Stare. So, wouldn't be fair if I wasn't somewhat critical of the album. Blue Stare, I was honestly pretty neutral on this one. Again, you can catch a couple of the slip ups. This is actually one of the tracks where I remember hearing a couple of drum slip ups, which very minor, but you can kind of point them out if you're really paying attention. Not the biggest fan overall of really the overall tempo or lyrics of this song. Really just kind of a forgettable track if there were one on the album, sitting in that number 5 spot. But not a whole lot of thoughts really on this one. Just definitely one that I don't find myself circling back to very often.
Okay. I think that we're onto something here, Sam.
No, we're not.
I think the guitar on this song sounds like a mess to me. This song sounds disjointed. It's not melodic whatsoever. The lyrics are janky. The best thing about the song is that it's not that long. Sorry, guys.
Nice. Yeah, I'm not gonna like stand up on a soapbox and defend this one all that much. Chuggy guitars, starts and stops. There are some pretty sick drum rolls. Maybe there are some mistakes in there. I don't know. I didn't listen. I didn't hear them. Maybe my ears just don't want to hear them. The song itself, very much on the simple side. Not the strongest chorus, just one line. This is not a song that I would point someone towards and say, you need to hear this, but I think it's perfectly fine as an album track. Like, I do not need to skip it if I'm listening to this album by any means.
Yeah, same here. I won't find myself skipping it, but I definitely don't find myself circling back to it very often.
Yeah, sames. All right. Well, we got 2s and 3s. I guess I'll kick this one off. I always sometimes a lot of these songs, I forget what the titles are because there's 3rd and long, there's 2s and 3s. Like a lot of them don't actually say the You've Got a Friend in Pennsylvania. There's nothing about that in the actual song. So sometimes I forget like what the names of some of these songs are, but the moment they come on to my ears, I'm like, got it. Okay.
Wait, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Is this a dating reference to twos and threes? Is that what this is?
I have no idea. I don't know what
What
twos
is
and
the
threes
reference? Yeah.
I'm asking. I'm just asking. Twos and threes. I don't know. I didn't know that Third and Long was a dating reference. You guys did. So
it's not a dating reference, but it's making a connection. It's a metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what the metaphor is here, to be honest.
Isn't twos and threes about DJ equipment or something?
That's the ones and the twos. But
what about
close?
There's no twos and threes?
It stops at the one and twos.
Yeah, when they introduce a DJ, they say on the ones and twos. I don't know about twos and threes. Maybe that is a reference in some way, shape, or form.
How about this song?
Yeah, so this song sounds from the very start like it's going to be big. It's got this instrumental introduction into these belting vocals. I said, stare at the sky. It basically has a hero line. Like this song has one hero line. Stupid games are for stupid people. And if you get nothing out of this song, but you've heard it a few times, I challenge you not to sing that along and pump your fist. Or again, I've heard this song live. I mean, that's the hero. Like, it's funny that there's one line that just stands out and makes a song. I also love the lines, it's a song with no beginning, a song that has no meaning, just like this one. I think the song has some sort of meaning, but it doesn't have a chorus. There is no chorus here. There's, I sit and stare at the sky. That's the verse. I feel it coming again. I feel it coming with the wind. That does not feel like a chorus at all. And I know I won't feel it again if I just played along. Stupid games for stupid people. That does not seem like a chorus. And then we're repeating those three things. So again, I have no idea song construction wise what is going on, but stupid games are for stupid people. Fuck yeah, I'm in.
Chris, you want to?
Sam's like rolling his eyes. You're like rolling your eyes as if I just said all the things that you wanted to say.
No, go ahead, Sam.
You're off my notes. I think we need to sandwich this though, because it's some positivity, give it a little negativity, and then.
How do you know? How do you know that I'm going to go negative? You have no idea. You really don't, and neither do you guys out there. You think you have it all figured out. You think you have. No, I'm telling you right now that I'm offended now. You were offended before. Now I'm offended because I do not want to be painted a picture of a negative person. I'm an honest individual.
Newfound November is a time of happiness, not offensive.
I agree.
I agree.
Joy.
I agree.
Everyone shake hands. High five.
I've been nothing but kind to you guys on the show today. I've been nothing but kind and cordial. You cannot say that I haven't been.
Do you feel
kind
attacked?
to us, not kind to Newfound Glory?
I wasn't sure about this one, ladies and gentlemen. I wasn't. But I think I am pretty sure about it now. I like this song because it flows. I think it flows better than mostly every other song on this album. And I feel like, so the music flows, the feeling, the tempo flows. I want to say that he sings it differently on this song. I want to say that he doesn't make that weird voice that he makes, and he just actually sings, and it sounds like he's actually singing regular on this one. The way that he belts out those lyrics, it sounds better than normal. It sounds different than Newfound Glory, and I like it, and I like the sound. It sounds bigger. It sounds more grandiose, and I get into the lyrics. I like the fact that, it has that hero lyric to it. I don't know what else he's saying, though, because I don't have, for some reason, Spotify does not allow you to see lyrics for this song. And that does not make me happy, because that's what I depend on.
You could have told me. I would have texted them to you.
Well, you're gonna write out the lyrics in a text message and send it to me.
I would do that for you. It's Newfound November. It's a time of giving.
You know how long that would take?
I could just copy and paste it, because you could also just Google search it.
I want you to type it out word for word. If you're going to do it, why wouldn't you just do it?
I could do that pretty fast on a computer. Maybe not. A phone would take me a minute, but
So
Computer,
I mean,
I could bang it out.
I think that this song deserves a check mark for
Woohoo!
sure.
Ooh, wow. For a minute there, I was like, is he changing his notes just to not be the negative guy right now? But no, I think you really convinced me that you may have given this some love. Well,
I
a check
did.
mark really solidifies that, I guess.
The check mark was something I just added now, but the words that I read to you or that I said to you were written down here. So these are my thoughts.
Wow.
The question is, do you guys agree or disagree?
Well, I absolutely love this song. This song is it's still very, very popular. It still makes it into a set list every once in a while. Problem with their set list lately is that they're doing these full album tours, so you don't get a lot of this stuff kind of scattered throughout as much as you used to, but it's still definitely on there. I have fond memories of this song because it was one of the songs that they featured during like a video montage from one of their very first DVDs that they released. I have fond memories of picking that DVD up and playing it on repeat till that thing stopped working. But anytime I hear this song, that video montage immediately starts playing in my brain, and lots of good memories flow as a result. In terms of the song itself, Steve said a lot of it. Stupid games are for stupid people. I mean, I feel like that is definitely the line. It's the most popular line from this track, and really from a lot of their tracks. Big fan of the vocals on this track. I do feel like there is a little bit more of a singing element to it, as you mentioned, Chris, which I really like. I think it really carries the entire song. I also like, just from a music standpoint, I like how the song really kicks off with the drums. There's a lovely little bass line before Jordan really starts belting out about how he's sitting there and staring at the sky, which I think is just a great way to start the song off in general. Very solid track for me overall, and I can understand why it's one of their more popular ones.
Keep it rolling. Why don't you kick off Telltale Heart?
Me?
Yeah.
I can. Telltale Heart. For my notes on this one, one of the few things I wrote is that I feel like this song has a little bit of everything. I thought that it was just super catchy, like the chorus, and now that you mentioned how difficult it is to really pinpoint a chorus in some of these, I'm kind of second guessing whether this was even a chorus that I liked out of this song. Lots of gritty guitars here. Okay. The stay right here, right by me, stay, the flame has died. Okay.
Damn.
So, thought so.
As the chorus, I don't know, fucking aficionado or something, whatever I am.
I trusted you. Whatever, I'm rolling with it. Love the gritty guitar sound here, and the drum buildup kind of mixed in with a nice little rhythm or the rhythm guitar before the cymbals kind of come in to change up the tempo a bit. Another little sprinkle of what I call gang vocals, but really just some layered vocals that I really appreciated this song too. Something I also noted in this song, again, just talking a lot of kind of around the production quality, is I feel like when I listen to this song, it almost sounds like they recorded this entire album in a day. And like, this was like deeper in the day where his voice was just kind of shot, or you could just hear some cracks here or there in his voice that just don't really stand out to me as much in some of the other songs. And again, yet another song that I think could really be a solid track, current day, if it was just re-recorded. Better recording quality.
Me? Chris? Me? You?
Yeah.
Me?
I'll go. I think this song had a promising start to it. I really do. The guitar line on this one was definitely on point to start the song. It got me really excited about the fact that I might be able to sit through another song, 2 in a row, that I could really like. And that was something that I had never experienced before with New Found Glory. And this was really the first time that I thought we were going to get there. This song also sounds like a Blink song, and I know you know what I'm talking about. I know you know which song I'm talking about. It's a specific song. I mean, you guys out there, you tell me it doesn't sound like that song, that I know you know which one I'm talking about.
But you don't know.
I will know.
But
I just
we
don't
know.
I just don't know right now, but it does. Unfortunately, the lyrics kick in and it ruins the song really bad. So I wish this was an instrumental track, and not even a million pick scrapes could save this one because of that. So that's unfortunately, I was on my way up, guys. I was on my way up, and it just took me down.
And then the song started. That's unfortunate. You know, this one is a tale of two songs. You know, it's basically a hardcore song, pop punk chorus, hardcore song, pop punk chorus. Like that's kind of what this song is. And when you have a song like that, it comes off as more of a hardcore-ish kind of pit song. I don't know what the wobble wobble is. The little, you know, I guess that's a person, a female, like talking too much, like in his ear. I don't know if that tracks in 2024, but there's one, you know, pretty wise lyric for some youngins. I love, you know, I've learned the time can heal wounds, but the reminder of a scar will stay. The chorus is not super strong. It is catchy, but it's just not saying much. Stay right here by me. Stay, the flame has died down. Like it you could sing along to it and enjoy it, but it's not really doing all that much. It's interesting that the gang vocals are like opening lines. Like the first don't tell me. Like usually gang vocals are kind of saved for like the end of songs where it's kind of a culmination, but they throw these in kind of at the beginning of those verses. Overall, I'm pretty neutral on this one. I like the song a whole lot, but I'm not like jumping out of my socks to defend any, you know, any negative thoughts about it. I think it's pretty good.
Pretty good.
It's pretty good. Telltale Heart. Yeah. Wah, 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 wah.
So nobody talks in your ear in 2024. Is that what you're trying to say?
What do you mean?
You said that it's irrelevant for where the days we live in now. Like I feel like people would talk inside of your ear every day.
Yeah, I feel like maybe they're just trying to make women come off as like being annoying in that sound effect.
Oh, is that what it is?
Maybe.
I was trying to figure out who it was. It's either Jordan or Ian making that noise for sure. But yeah, I think it might just be a play on that. Kind of an annoying voice. Kind of
that was my take on it. I don't know what it is.
What if you take the women thing out of it and just make it be anybody that has an annoying voice that talks in your ear like that?
Well, pretty much all the songs are about girls and breakups and love in this album, which is fine. That's perfect for this time, you know? High school, early college, that's perfect time for all this stuff.
So all the people broke up in the late 90s and that's it?
Yeah, when you're in high school and college, you have girlfriends and you break up, you know?
Yeah, but if that's the case,
and you cry and you put up your AOL Instant Messenger away message with punk lyrics. At least that's what I did.
I mean, then you would know that the 2s and 3s are a dating reference, but you didn't. So how is that true?
Yeah, I might have said stupid games are for stupid people. Like somebody pissed me off, you know, girlfriend, stupid games for stupid people. Let her Google that. Well, was there Google? I don't even know. Let her look that up. Ask Jeeves what that means. Find my Newfound Glory lyrics.
But is that the same as if like we were at the club and a friend of mine says, "Hey, look at me on the 1s and 2s," and I'd say, "Yeah, look at me on the 2s and 3s." Like, you know, that would work, right?
I wouldn't recommend you try that, but
yeah,
if you're going to try it, let me know so I can watch along and take a video.
How about this next song, the winner of 1995?
Is this for me to start?
Sure.
Do you remember the winter of 1995?
Chris, do you remember when we used to talk on the phone for hours or just kill time by counting stars before we went to sleep?
Actually, I don't remember this. I remember. Do
you still think I'm funny? Do you still think I am?
I mean,
sometimes. At least to one of us.
Sometimes.
Okay, thank you. This is, if you were to say, Newfound Glory is bubble gummy pop punk, this is the song that would prove you right. The chorus is fun. I like it a whole lot. Listening back and like reading the lyrics, it's a very simple ABC pop punk song. Verse, chorus, verse, chorus, chorus. That's it. That does not take away from any of my enjoyment. I really like this one. I don't know that I have anything more to say why I like it, but it's one that's fun. I don't know what the winner of 95 is. I guess he's just reminiscing on, you know, times when they used to talk on the phone for hours and just kill time by counting stars before we went to sleep. But just saying that like makes me want to sing the entire song because it's kind of born into my brain.
So this title, I actually do have a reference to, or some background to. This title came from Jordan being in a 5-year relationship and this coming to a close during the winter of 95. I don't know where I saw that. It was a very random kind of snippet through an interview somewhere. But I remember noting it down or writing it down because I thought it was so interesting.
It came to a close in the winter of 95?
I think it's either that or started, one of the two, but it's in reference to the relationship that Jordan had for sure, which I thought was interesting because lyrically back then, Steve Klein was the one writing the majority of the lyrics for the band. It wasn't until some of their later albums that Jordan and Chad kind of got involved a little bit more on the lyrical side. But since I'm yapping, I'll kind of give my thoughts here. Something I didn't say earlier, but to me, this back half of the album is pretty solid. And this song, I think, structurally is one that I think could have easily been on a later release and carried itself well in the mix with everything else. I couldn't agree more. Very bubblegum pop punk or whatever you use to describe it. Very catchy rhythm. I like the little individual cymbal taps that are kind of sprinkled throughout. And the only other note I wrote is how much I love the lyric, "The joke's on you. Well, I don't understand myself." So very solid track for me.
I like that lyric too. I'm with you on that. But when I think of bubblegum pop punk, I think of something that is super catchy, and I don't think this is catchy whatsoever. I don't find like this melody to be catchy. I'm not saying it's bad. I just don't see it's like if you're gonna say it's bubblegum pop punk, I think of maybe like fruit stripe gum or maybe juicy fruit that loses its flavor almost instantaneously. Maybe Bazooka Joe, like that. Is that what you is that what you think is bubblegum? That's bubblegum. If you chew enough of it.
That is bubblegum, if that's what you're asking.
I was wondering if these are questions we're supposed to answer or not.
I mean, no, that's more of a hypothetical question than it is like an actual one. You know what I mean? Yes.
Yes.
Dead air. That's a hypothetical question as well.
This would. Yeah, I mean, look, here's my notes here. So I get why people would enjoy this live. I think this would be a great song live to like dance to and sing along because honestly, like if you know the lyrics to this and you're with people and it's on and it's live, I could see it just being a barrel of fun, right? Just singing and dancing, whatever you guys do, you know, to these guys in this concert. But I just feel like it's not as good for me just to sit here and listen to it. Like I feel like it loses a dimension of what it would be live to listen to this versus what it is just kind of sitting here listening to this song. I don't know why. If I didn't explain that properly, then sorry, but I just feel like that's what it is. It's just not a great song to listen to on an album. It's probably better to listen to in person. And the melodies are what kind of takes me out of it. It's just not interesting. They just seem very monotone. So, unfortunately, I'm not there with you guys on this one.
This is not one that's going to make it into a lot of set lists unless they're doing this album. I don't particularly recall hearing it.
Yeah, I don't think so. And probably a song most people don't know by name for sure.
I like 95, though. It was a good year.
I didn't even know the name of the song. Like, I don't really remember the name of the song anytime I'm listening to it.
Yep.
Okay, passing time. Chris, you go ahead.
Yeah. So I think this song turns it around just a little bit from the last one. I know it was hypercritical about. Nah, actually, I was not incredibly hypercritical, but critical enough. This one, I thought, kind of rebounds a little bit. I like the way that they approach the lyrics here. I like the way that Jordan approaches the lyrics here a little bit differently. I think the guitar is a little bit more on point and interesting here with the guitar lines. And I really like that bass solo when the guitar drops out. Again, it just seems like a smoother track, more of a cohesive song than some of the other songs that just don't seem like they have any structure at all. And I hear what you guys are saying, in that they're young, they didn't know how to write a song, and I think that's passable for some songs, and maybe if it's a band that I really connect with, I can get past it. But for one that I'm not necessarily there with, and if the song's a mess, it's kind of just it just kind of puts it into the ground. So this one, I think, was a little bit more cohesive. So I don't have any more specifics on this one, but I thought it was okay to pass the time and listen to the song.
I kind of think opposite. Like, I feel like this one is hectic. It's not really cohesive. I mean, the song slaps, but it's like a hard, fast punk song. And I don't know. I feel like it's it's more hectic. This is one where I've no clue what's the chorus. Sam, you have any idea? I mean, the close thing would be the how can we make it through today without thinking about tomorrow, but that's like all the way at the end. And then there's like a bassy type chorus. Yeah, I think the song slaps, but it's a fast, hectic song.
Yeah, this is a super upbeat song. This is definitely one that sits and lives on my my gym playlists. It's definitely one of my favorite hype songs. You guys already pointed out a lot of the stuff that I like about this song. I like the part where it softens up a little bit, leaves room for that bass. It's not a full on solo. There's some very light guitars still picking up or still going in the background there before it picks back up. This is yet another one that I have a lot of memories of. This is one of those where you see Jordan just going nuts on stage, almost like he's having a seizure performing this one live. So love just how upbeat and catchy this song is to me. I do have a question real quick, because you guys we keep talking about a lot about the production quality and how maybe they're younger, didn't really know how to write a lot of music at this time. And Blink has come up as a reference or as a point of comparison quite a bit, but specifically Dude Ranch has. I'm curious, why doesn't that go before Dude Ranch? And the only reason I say that is because for me personally, as a Blink fan, some of those pre-Dude Ranch albums I can't even listen to.
Pre-Dude Ranch is what you're saying. Like
Pre-Dude
Buddha.
Ranch. Like Buddha to me is like a great example of people that are figuring out how to write a song and it totally experience. There's not a lot of structure to those songs. They're kind of all over the place. I feel for Newfound Glory being where they were at this point in time, granted, there's a lot of opportunity on this album, especially in the production quality, but I think they did a solid job at putting some structure behind some of this. And there's definitely some songs where it stands out stronger or where it's a little bit more prevalent than others. But I think this is one of those that maybe falls into a little bit of that scattered category, but still a solid job overall.
Yeah, I think if you're making that comparison, I fully get that. I think that by the time Blink got to Dude Ranch, they had put together several right. So Buddha was a full album. Cheshire Cat was a full album, and so maybe we should be comparing this to Cheshire Cat. I don't know. I feel like Blink by the time they got to Dude Ranch was just a little bit more polished, right? When you get to most of those songs, they definitely have that kind of mostly traditional structure, and they figured out kind of the sound that they were going for, right? It evolved over time, but they kind of got their sound. I'm just saying that I feel like they're still figuring it out here. This is kind of the start point. There was an EP, It's All About the Girls, I think was the first one. I don't know that one all that well, but they did not have much recording background before this. I think they formed in 97. This came out in 99. So, this is the early days.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe some of those Cheshire Cat songs are less, I'd have to go back and like think about it and whatever, but I think maybe some of those might have been a little more hectic and not as polished in terms of like song structure, but they're not doing a bad job.
Yeah, they're not terrible, but I mean, like, for me, the comparison on the Blink side with Dude Ranch is definitely just in the production quality. Blink now from a production standpoint is, I mean, yeah, leaps and bounds from where they started. But
you could say the same for Forever and Ever, X Infinity. I don't know.
True.
Did you like that album?
I'm telling you, no bad things for Newfound Glory in my book.
Yeah. Okay, we can move forward on that.
You didn't like it?
Well, we did a chat on that one. No, I thought that was terrible. I thought Forever and Ever.
Was it lyrically that you felt it was terrible?
I can't remember. I think the whole thing was close to unlistenable for me. And a lot of their later records I did not really get into. I'm kind of like Well, and we'll see with Newfound November. We'll see which records we cover. But like when it gets like I kind of was like real in, like I was 100% bought in through like Coming Home. And then after that, it started to fade. And I just wanted to hear the
Interesting.
old shit.
Yeah, for a lot of people, that's tied to the lyrics. And once they lost Steve, you can definitely tell there's a significant change in how they wrote songs. Very corny for a lot of people, but
Especially that
it is what it is.
last one.
Yeah.
Ugh, God. All right. We're getting close to wrapping it up. Chris, you want to start Broken Sound?
Yeah, I think we've lost our transitions. We got to get better with our segues. We did that. We had a really nice stretch there. Now we don't have it anymore.
You can't force it. It comes and goes.
It does. It's hit or miss.
Hey.
There you go. Transition
So
an hour
I
ago.
will be straight into the point on this one. First of all, this song sounds like Slide from the Goo Goo Dolls at the beginning of the song. So if you go listen to Slide by the Goo Goo Dolls and then listen to this song, it sounds the same. Go listen to it. Go ahead.
I will.
And then come back and listen. So stop this and go listen to Slide by the Goo Goo Dolls and come back and listen to us. And let me know if I'm right. So why is he singing so far away in this song? Can you guys answer me that question, please?
So
Sounds
far
he's
away from
singing
the microphone?
Yeah, he's like at least 30 feet from the microphone in this song.
I can't answer that question.
I think the chorus rocks. I love the chorus in this song, but the verse is almost unlistenable, unfortunately. So can we just listen to the chorus in this one? Can they string together the choruses just for 2 minutes? And I think it would be a great song to enjoy. I wonder if that's possible.
You could edit it if you'd like.
I would like, but I don't know how to do that. So you have to show me what to do because I don't know how.
Sam,
I don't
what
have
do
the
you
right
think?
tools. I don't have the right tools.
I am a sucker for slow jams. And Teenage Sam, with his little broken heart, probably played this song about 1,000 times. So it definitely stands out to me. I can understand the 30 feet away from the microphone. It almost sounded like very tinny to me, but something I appreciated the song. This song actually is funny because this is one of the songs that I can still remember was a song that I downloaded from Napster, and when I first listened to it, it sounded so far off from everything else that I had heard from Newfound Glory that I wondered if I had just downloaded like something that had Newfound Glory in the file name but wasn't actually them, because it just didn't seem to really fit. But once I did find out it was them, I started listening to it over and over again. A little bit of a shorter song on the album. I like that it eventually picks up and gets a little bit heavier. But I don't know. Overall, I like it. I like how it starts, and that really sells me. I think carries me through the majority of this song. And albeit the vocals are unique and different, something I actually really like about it.
Yeah, this is kind of our first taste of like an acoustic, like ballady song. You know, I love the guitar strum in the intro with those single piano notes that are just floated in, and I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. I like the that I've wanted and I've waited. The first time he sings those lines like super soft, and then the second time he sings those lines super hard. It kind of feels like it builds and builds to kind of a crescendo to, I guess, probably what you're calling the chorus. You know, and I can't be the one to show you. I feel like it builds, and this is a fun song for sure. It's different than everything else that's on the album, and it gives you a little bit of a different look on some of the things that they can do.
Yeah,
Fun.
fair, for sure.
Yeah, lots of fun.
It's fun, never sometimes.
All right, never sometimes. Go ahead, Sam. You can kick us off on this one.
Again, this is another song where there's no chance I know the name of this song.
Yeah, it's so true. I wouldn't even be able to tell you the name of this one. But it's one of those things. Once it kicks off, I know exactly what I'm listening to and know all the lyrics. I think it's a great follow up to the previous track. I love how it kicks off with Jordan's vocals. And really, anytime they isolate his vocals in any song, I'm a big fan of. I know his vocal range isn't for everybody, but he does a pretty good job anytime they isolate his vocals of being within a range that's not overly whiny to me. And I just really like it. Something I look for in their songs. Um, Solid tempo overall. I think it's a pretty catchy song. This is one of the other ones that I know did just a big shift in tempo, kind of halfway through that song that feels a little bit more hardcore inspired to me. Um, I thought it was kind of interesting. It's not really the closing track on the album, but I thought it was kind of interesting how they chose to end it with like that fading out and then it kind of comes back in. Uh, and then just a bunch of random instruments playing almost like they were just wrapping up a concert, like that kind of stuff that you would just hear them messing around with as they close the show. But solid track overall.
Mm-hmm. See, in my opinion, when they isolate his lyrics, then I isolate myself, and that's what I did here. Is I isolated myself from listening to this song because I thought it was very whiny, very droning, and just blah. Sorry, guys.
All right. Well, I like that they end kind of the slower song and they just jump right into a super fast one. To me, I'm going to be somewhere in between here. I think that 11 on the album is the right spot for this one. I think it's a fun song, but it has a very weak chorus and it's not super memorable, really. They make this part that they want to stand out by like stopping and changing the tempo. Tie the rope around me once more and I might bend. That part's the part that they want to stand out. And then, they end with it like just this total new verse, this take this time out to find yourself. And then it's just super hectic. Instrumentals, fade out, fade back in. I'm not sure what that really does. Sam, like you had said, it seems like kind of like an end to a concert kind of thing, but I don't know what that does at number 11. Like when there's a song after it, it's interesting decision making is all I'll say.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. It is a little weird how that song ends, especially given how many kind of shifts in tempo there are kind of towards that tail end of the song. So for sure.
And just like Newfound Glory does a lot of good opening tracks, they usually do good closing tracks too. This one called The Goodbye Song, aptly named. Chris, do you want to start this one?
I can. I think this was a much better attempt, and I'm with you on this one. I think they definitely closed out with something that actually is listenable to me. I hope you guys like pianos because this song's got them. You like pianos? That's
yeah, I love pianos.
You're going to be pleasantly surprised. You're going to be pleasantly surprised because this has a piano. So there you go. You win, and I win because I like it. I like how the piano transitions into that first lyrical burst. This time, the lyrics do not ruin the song for me. I'm actually okay with the way that it kind of starts, the very fast tempo, and I like the melody here, guys. I think it's one of the more well-written ones throughout the entire album. I think there's the energy and such in this one is definitely something that attracts me. And I liked it, timestamp 145, something about the song I put here, it gets better. I think it might change tempos or something to that effect. I have to listen to it again. But I also like at the very end, it kind of gives you a little bit more piano. I think it's just like one piano, ding, or something like that. But this was a good one. I think that they ended on a high note.
It was a little bit more than a ding at the end, but yeah, you definitely get. Yeah, there you go.
All I heard was a ding.
So I love piano. I love piano sprinkled anywhere. I like that they start and end with the piano on this song. This is a song that I think most people wouldn't know by name for sure, but it's just not a well-known song at all. But you mentioned how the last song was a solid 11 spot, and I think this is a solid closing track for this album for sure. Good overall tempo. I like the vocals on this one a lot. I want to say there's even some harmonies that are kind of sprinkled throughout there that I really liked. Can't really remember exactly where those land, but solid track overall. Good closer to the album. Not one of their most memorable tracks, but I think still a good one.
Yeah, I love the keys opening this one up, and again, Newfound Glory does very good last songs. I'll just comment, Ballad for the Lost Romantics and The Story So Far. Very good final tracks to albums. This is another one of those. I think the harmonies you're talking about, man, if they recorded this song in the self-titled era, I feel like it would just take it to the next level. It would be a fucking banger. Not that it's
I
not
can see
already.
that.
I like the lyrics, in the bright of day, it might seem like the stars are gone. They never leave. They come back when the sun moves on. We got a little, astrophysical lyrics there. Really good pre-chorus into the chorus. A couple of different hooks, tempos. I think overall they killed it with the last song, and it's called the Goodbye Song, so it closes out the record pretty well because they're saying goodbye.
They sure do. And even though that I would like to say goodbye at this point in time, I don't think it's appropriate because we have not done ranking it. Now, before you cut in, Steve, do you have another game? I'm going to give you the opportunity to play that game now before we get into ranking it, because I will not be interrupted.
Oh wow! Somebody struck a chord on a previous episode. No additional games. I can't stump him with any concert trivia or anything like that because he's an expert. So it's not even part of it. And this album doesn't have a lot of streams or anything. And the number one stream song is Hit or Miss, but then it doesn't even get the right amount of streams because there's another version of it. So no. Proceed.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen out there listening to the show, Ranking It is a segment where we rank our top 3 favorite songs. I bet you didn't know that. Well, now you do. And we're going to rank our top 3 favorite songs on this album, which is Nothing Gold Can Stay, that came out in 1999 from New Found Glory.
Named after a Robert Frost poem.
Who's Robert Frost? So, he does Robert Frost, but they also do Edgar Allan Poe here. Are they poetry? They a lot of poetry?
Maybe they're poetry aficionados. I don't know.
Is it the Telltale Heart? Yeah. Well, guys, we got to do it. I know for some of you super fans out there that are listening to the show, you'd like to do it too. Sam is a super fan. He has to do it here live. So as we normally do, guests go first. Sam, what's your top 3 in order? In order, 3, 2, 1 off of this album.
All right. Thank you. So I will start off by saying that Hit or Miss is not in my top 3 for this album. Doesn't mean it's not a great song. I just think there's some others that really stood out to me that I find myself circling back on more often than that. In the number 3 spot is going to be Broken Sound for me. Again, I'm a sucker for the slow jams. If there's always that one little ballad or slow jams kind of sprinkled into an album, it's probably going to win me over. In the number 2 spot is going to be Twos and Threes. And then in the number 1 spot, sticking with the theme of numbers in song names, it will be Third and Long.
Mm-hmm. Which is a
Bet
dating
you weren't
reference.
thinking those.
That is a dating reference, ladies and gentlemen.
Third and Long, baby.
Third and Long.
All right. So I will go next and Steve can wrap it up. So for me, the number 3 was the Goodbye Song. Thought it was a decent way to end the album. And also the album was over. So I was into that. Number 2 was Hit or Miss. I mean, regardless of the fact that I like the other version just a tad bit better, I still think it's one of my favorite songs from New Found Glory. And if it's on this album, then I got to put it in the top 3. Nothing else could really supplant it, to be honest with you. And then my number 1 was Twos and Threes, because I could see myself up in the DJ booth spinning the Twos and Threes. But not just that, I thought it was a good song. I thought it was different. I thought it was a departure from a lot of the other tracks on this album and did something that I thought that the other songs just couldn't quite get to. So I was a fan of that, and I think it belonged at number 1. Steve.
I almost had completely different rankinets than both of you, but there ended up being one overlap, and that's going to be so I was very close to having Twos and Threes in my list, but at number 3, the Goodbye Song beat it out. I think that by the time I got to the album, I'm like, damn, that's right, this song is there. This deserves to be on the top. So I gave it number 3, the Goodbye Song. Number 2 is You've Got a Friend in Pennsylvania. I think I dug that one more than you guys. And it is not even close. I could do it with my eyes closed. I could do it with a gun put to my head. my favorite song on this record is "It Never Snows in Florida." It's not even close. Maybe that's obviously just my personal connection to that one, but I fucking love that song, and I think that could have been a hit in my mind for sure.
It's a hit to you. It's a hit to you.
It is a hit. It is a hit, and it's number one. I actually did. There was something on Instagram or something with like brackets of New Found Glory songs, and I filled it out. But Never Snows in Florida wasn't even on the bracket, so by the time I got to the final, I just whited out everything else and wrote Never Snows in Florida. But yeah, if you watched our Instagram 4 years ago, then you might have seen that.
But you're into that song because of a personal experience, right? That's why.
Well, I also love the song, and connected to the personal experience. Yeah.
Yeah, but that helps it a lot. And I'm not talking down on it. I'm just saying that definitely elevates the song a lot if you have a personal experience tied to it, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, if I decided to not go to concerts and sit there with a pillow over my head and listen to Never Snows in Florida on repeat, then that's not what happened, but that might, stay with me for the long term. Everybody hurts. It's okay. We hurt in different ways.
Oh, man, I'm so glad that story continues on. I'm glad you're referencing that because, man, that was
certainly
just
does.
absurd.
But I have to extend Rank It. I didn't do it a game or anything like that or interrupt you. I have to extend Rank It just for Sam. All right, we're going to go on and do the rest of New Found November. And we're not going to talk to you about the other albums. So could you give us your top 3 New Found Glory records? 3, 2, 1. Where is Nothing Gold Can Stay in there? You might need a second to pull up the discography.
Nah, I think I may have it right out of the gate. I'm just making sure I'm not missing anything. So 3.
Please don't put Forever and Ever times Infinity in there.
Forever and Ever times Infinity.
No,
it also takes the number 2 spot because it's so good.
It's
I'm just
lie.
kidding.
Jason Voorhees.
Yeah. So in the number 3 spot for New Found Glory. Oh wait, are there any rules here? Are cover albums allowed in here?
This is not. This is a bootleg ranking it, so there's no rules. I don't care what you do.
The rules are it's allowed. The rules are there's no rules.
Gotcha. All right. Number 3 is Not Without a Fight. Number 2 is going to be Sticks and Stones. And my number 1 New Found Glory album is Coming Home.
Really? Wow. That is such like a not popular New Found Glory fan. Like most people like fucking hated Coming Home. I don't. I liked Coming Home. But
I love it. And
it's not considered one of their stronger ones.
I would say that I go through phases where Not Without a Fight and Coming Home kind of switch places, but Coming Home, a lot of the hate that it got was for a little bit more of the slower tempo in some of their songs, and I liked it. I thought it was kind of a nice little pivot towards something different. Again, you can do anything with New Found Glory as long as you slap Jordan's vocals on it. It's a New Found Glory song, and I think that kind of tested that. So when I go back and listen to New Found Glory albums, Coming Home, Not Without a Fight are definitely the first 2 that I'll always kind of cycle through. Honorable mention, though, is definitely From the Screen to Your Stereo, part 2.
Part 2. I forget which songs are on which one. I have to look at it.
Part 2 was when Kiss Me.
Kiss Me.
Yeah, that had a lot. That's when they had all the guest vocalists. So it was The Promise, Stay, Love Fool, Iris. They did the Amelie song that was just all instrumental. Pretty good stuff.
They did
do.
Huh. Yeah, you haven't heard their cover album?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you should check it out.
We might have to switch the New Found November lineup. We might have to just do cover albums.
Oh, great. Well, actually, it wouldn't be too bad, I guess.
New Found Glory did. I always think that that South Park episode where they say The Simpsons did it. The Simpsons did it. When everybody talks about cover songs, so he's like, New Found Glory did it. New Found Glory did it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if you've heard their latest cover, the Part of Your World cover, it's a very solid version of Part of Your World. That entire album is okay, but definitely the Yellow Card and the New Found Glory tracks on that album stand out to be what I think are the better versions of covers for sure.
Totally agree.
Well, I think that we did it the right way here to kind of kick things off for New Found November. This was the album to go with. I don't know if this was by design. It probably was, right? To start with the first album. Steve?
Everything is by design.
Yeah, no, I mean, we do nothing random here. It's all by design, but I think it was a nice starting point. I think we had some differing opinions. I'm sure you guys out there that are listening had some opinions too. I am positive that you mostly agreed with me and sometimes agreed with Steve and or Sam, but that's okay. You're allowed to agree with them sometimes. But hopefully, either way, you enjoyed the first episode of Newfound November. Steve, we have a lot more episodes planned for this series, don't we?
Yes, at least 3.
At least for the entirety of the month of November. And I think that people are really, really excited to hear what it is that we're going to cover. So why don't you go ahead and just give it away?
What, give away all the albums?
Yeah.
Oh, no. You'll have to wait till next week. We have more albums coming up.
Sweet.
It won't be self-titled because we already did that one. That's the only thing I'll give away.
Very cool. Well, that said, Sam, I think that, first of all, it was a pleasure having you back on the show again, but I knew in my heart of hearts, this was the one for you to come back and return to the show. You did not disappoint. You were very, very prepared, and I'm positive that people are going to thoroughly enjoy your analysis. So thank you for coming and look forward to next time.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'll definitely be listening alongside for all of the other albums that you'll be covering this month. So thank you so much.
I'd ask you if you have something to plug. I do see a guitar behind you, so potentially you're in a band that you'd like to plug.
I am not in a band. It's more decoration than anything else. No
Right.
plugs for me. Just excited to be here.
Alrighty. Well, anyway, once again, looking forward to the next time we cross paths with you. And for all of you guys out there, we appreciate you listening to the show. If you like the show, please let us know. One of the best ways to do that is to give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. And even better, give us a written review. We'd love to hear what you think about the show. So write us up something, whether it's good, bad, indifferent. We just want to hear from you. And do not forget that if you are into the High School Never Ends podcast, you can get some really cool swag out there. Some cool, probably you want to call it swag. There's more stuff out there. There's some really nice t-shirts, no fingerless gloves, no leather jackets with the sleeves cut off. But there's other stuff that is available. You can get to that shop and buy any of that cool stuff with the logo on it via our hub, which is www.hsnepod.com.
That's right. And you can follow us on socials. We've got Discord, we have Facebook, we have Instagram at HSNEPod, or you can just go to hsnepod.com and find all those things. We also have a brand new Patreon where if you're begging for more High School Never Ends content, you can get extra stuff, extra episodes. Check that out at hsnepod.com. We'll have a link to it. We're going to be back next week. It's going to be Newfound November. We're going to talk about another Newfound Glory album. I am excited. Chris is excited. Until then, keep on rocking your dad bods, throw up your rock hands, and blast the pop punk.
If you are enjoying this podcast and other podcasts on the Dragon Wagon Radio Network, be sure to check out the Dragon Wagon Shop. Awesome t-shirts and mugs from your favorite shows so you can tout your podcast pride, all while supporting your favorite indie podcast network. And make sure to check it often for new items and limited time designs. So shop now at dragonwagonshop.com and get your dragon swag on.
It's Dragon Wagon.